Good morning, everyone. Most people think virtual reality, or VR, is only used in video games or headsets like the Oculus. But VR has lots of everyday uses. Today, I will explain what VR is, how it has changed throughout the years, and finally, how it is used today. Virtual reality is a computer-generated environment that lets users interact with their surroundings in a digital world. Wearing a VR headset, you can look around and move through that world as if you're actually in it. Some systems come with handheld controllers or sensors you can pick up objects. The history of virtual reality began in 1956 when a filmmaker named Morton Helig created a machine called the Sensorama. It was designed to make people feel like they were in another place. It used 3D images, sounds, vibration, wind, and even smells. Users could not actually interact, but it showed how you could use technology to create an environment. In 1968, computer scientist Ivan Sutherland and his student Bob Sproul built the first headset. It was too big and heavy to wear by itself, so it had to be hanging from the ceiling. The graphics were simple, but it showed that computers can create the visual environment that changed as the user moved. In the 1970s and 1980s, technology improved even more. Scientists and engineers worked on creating flight simulators and training programs for pilots and astronauts. This helped them practice dangerous situations in a safe space, where the term virtual reality was more known during this time, thanks to a computer scientist named Jerome Lehner, who helped make some of the first VR equipment for home use. In the 1990s, VR became more popular with the public. Lots of companies thought VR was the future of gaming. Arcades had VR games, and Nintendo made the Virtual Boy. The technology was not very good at the time. The graphics were not realistic, the equipment was expensive, and some people had motion sickness. The Virtual Boy also used red lenses, so staring at a red screen for so long. Also used red lenses, so some people were blinded by staring at a red screen for so long. Because of these problems, the VR sales decreased. Virtual reality became popular again in the 2010s because technology had improved. The processor, screens, and sensors were smaller and more powerful. In 2012, the Oculus Rift was put out through a crowdfunding campaign. It put VR back into people's lives. A few years later, Facebook, now called Meta, bought Oculus and put a lot of money into the VR technology. Today, virtual reality is used in a lot of different ways. Doctors and medical students can use it to practice surgeries and medical procedures. Students in school can now go on virtual field trips to museums in space and study science through VR. Some businesses use VR to train their employees or have meetings. Architects and engineers can now look at building designs before they start construction. But gaming is still one of the most popular uses for VR, but not the only one. New VR headsets are now lighter and comfortable to use. Developers are trying to find ways to improve graphic motion tracking and hand tracking so VR feels more real. Researchers finding ways to use VR in education, healthcare, and communication. In conclusion, virtual reality has made great changes since it first started in the 1950s. The experimental technology is now used around the world for training, education, healthcare, business, and entertainment. Since technology is always improving, virtual reality will probably be used in new areas and become a part of everyday life. Thank you for listening to my speech all about the history of virtual reality.